Being an anime fan here in the US, I could safely say that we get the best of the best anime content. Huge movies that come out in Japan, like Violet Evergarden the final movie or Jujutsu Kaisen 0, come out in less than 6 months after in US markets. Japan also sends their very best to represent different iconic shows at major American anime cons. Even the whole infrastructure of English dubbing anime series is super extensive and executed efficiently to the T. That's why I'm very fascinated when I come across how other countries distribute anime. One country in particular, China, has a much different process of distributing anime content in their country. For example, according to multiple sources, China actually banned the highly acclaimed AOT series. The reason being, the extensive violence and bloodshed prompted the CCP to ban AOT because they felt that these disturbing visuals were unhealthy for their younger audiences. This is a huge contrast to how the American government looks at AOT. Over here, in the US of A, you got politicians like Arizona Congressman Paul Gauger dead-ass making AOT ship hosts and photoshopping Democrats on different Titan faces. This contrast may be an anomaly, but seeing how anime both got popular in America and China in the 80s and 90s, it's kind of fascinating seeing how the anime industry parsed out differently in each respective country. Thus, today, we're gonna be going down the rabbit hole and exploring more about the growth and also censorship of anime in China. Revy, light this motherfucker up! I think the growth of anime in China cannot be described as anything else but as a miracle. From a very selective set of anime shows in the 80s and 90s, you now have this $21 billion Chinese anime market. You went from Pirate Bay bootleg torrent sites to full-ass legit animation studios producing their own Chinese and Japanese animated shows. One person we definitely have to highlight here is this mad lad named Zhu Yi. The reason why I call this man a mad lad is back in the late 2000s, he got fed up with the load time of these bootleg anime sites, so he deadass made his own anime-centric website. So in just 3 days, like the same amount of days Christ rose from the dead, Zhu Yi birthed a website called mikufans.cn. After seeing its rapid growth, this Chinese anime godfather reshaped this Hatsune Miku fan site into a video sharing platform. And I'm sure many of you guys heard of this site. It's called Bilibili, which anime fact of the day is named after Mikoto Misaka of a certain scientific railgun. Bilibili actually celebrates Misaka's birthday on their homepage every single year. With the introduction of this video sharing platform, this led to a renaissance growth of anime content in China. This paved the way for Chinese animation companies like Howliner's Animation Studio, who went on to produce big animation projects like The Silver Guardian or A Centaur's Life. Now, all is well, right? Anime gets popular in China, and our overseas Chinese bros get unlimited access to Japanese series. Well, my friends, that was far from how this all panned out. Like with Americans being associated with obesity, China is typically associated with something called censorship. Especially in the case of anime, which essentially is not Chinese, the CCP began a swift process of blacklisting different series so that they cannot be licensed, hosted, shared, or watched within the country. Many popular shows unfortunately made it to this list, such as the aforementioned AOT, Psychopaths, Death Note, etc., etc. Now, what exactly is the CCP using as a criteria for blacklisting these different series? I bring your attention to 2 government decrees. Firstly, we have the Film Management Regulation, and secondly, we have something called the Internet Information Service Management Rules. In the same way these decrees have a very vague sounding name, you also see a lot of the same vagueness in the actual content itself. These broad stroke points include things such as content that endangers the unity of the nation, sovereignty, or territorial integrity. disturbs the public order or destroys the public stability. Content that propagates obscenity, gambling, violence, or instigates crimes. And the list goes on and on. Every anime project that enters the Chinese market needs to be vetted extensively by the Chinese government with these different decrees. One recent show that went through this vetting process and quote-unquote relaunched was Darling in the Franxx. There's actually this really interesting Bilibili blog post where a Chinese user broke down the censorship episode by episode like a goddamn NBA basketball analyst. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I really thought this piloting system is going to get a pass by the Chinese government. Homegirl be twerking on a motherfucker in a full-ass spandex. On a side note, it was kind of funny reading through some of the comments in this article. In particular, there was one user that said, I have the full version of the resource. Comrade Band-Aid, 10,000 social credit points to you. Another series that got heavily censored by the CCP was our favorite Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid S. The full weight of the CCP hammer knocked off the full weight of the opais, cause now the Chinese version shows our anime waifus becoming cutting boards. Like CCP, I understand your pride in the growing class of engineers, but if your young men and women don't properly learn the physics of the anime opai, the future of Chinese engineering is truly lost. I wouldn't be surprised if the only way I can unlock the full opai version is if I hit a certain threshold with my social credit score. Now, before I go on a 10-minute video essay rant defending anime boobas, why does this all matter? It comes to no surprise that China, being an economic superpower and having hundreds of thousands of anime fans, various Chinese companies rose to the occasion and decided to invest a lot more in the Japanese anime market. And their recent business moves shows that these companies ain't playing around. On May 2020, Tencent acquired a 20% stake in Marvelous Entertainment at a 65 million price points. Then the following year, October 2021, Tencent again invests $264 million in Kadokawa, becoming its third largest stakeholder at 6.86%. Now, I want to make something very clear. I don't think these Chinese investors are coming in to completely destroy anime. In fact, I actually think that the Chinese are very capable of creating anime bangers, like The Daily Life of the Immortal King or Link Click. What I'm more interested in is how these different Chinese companies and investors would influence Japanese works to the point where the original story message gets completely muddled, or even worse, changed completely to fit a certain narrative. But one thing is for sure, the Chinese citizens love their anime, and Chinese companies will not stop investing more into the Japanese anime market. What do you guys think about this situation? Do you think this large influx of money being invested will lead to modern masterpieces being created by a joint Chinese and Japanese collaboration? Or do you think this is going to take a much darker turn, where major Japanese animation companies now have to be at the beck and call of the Chinese Communist government? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Anyways guys, love you. See you guys next week. This has been your boy Yi-Man. Peace out.